I don't have
लाइट ऑफ भागवत। आशिफ भी यहाँ पे स्क्रीन पे कुछ डाले हैं उसमें। हाँ, इधर वो बुक रखी है ना, बहुत अच्छी, बहुत ही आसान बुक है। इससे आसान बुक मैंने कभी देखी नहीं। तो मुश्किल बुक है। लाइट ऑफ भागवत में ऑटम सीजन में था, मतलब दैट्स मेडिटेशन, उसके ऊपर पढ़ पढ़। इस वर्ष का वो था डिटेल, बहुत लंबा
कौन
डिटेल
सा
था।
वर्ष 1 वर्ष 2 कौन सा
वर्ष वन।
वर्ष 1?
और ये रहा, यस।
Okay, so we are going to read the meditations of Hare Krishna.
आगे क्यों नहीं जा रहा?
हो रहा हो जाएगा. Right. So we are going to
Where is the
text one. Right. Hare Krishna. We are going to read today the meditations of light of Bhagavad. And today we will start with the first meditation. So these meditations come in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, in the chapter called as Description of Autumn. And this is a compilation of Srila Prabhupada's explanations on this description of autumn. We will read today the first meditation. The arrival of the clouds, accompanied by thunder and flashes of lightning all over the sky, provides a picture of life giving hope. Covered by deep bluish clouds, the sky appears artificially dressed. The thunder and the lightning within the clouds are signs of hope for a new way of life. The serene sky, limitlessly expansive, is compared to the absolute truth. The living entities are truths manifested in relation with the modes of material nature. The deep bluish cloud covers only an insignificant portion of the limitless sky, and this fractional comparing is compared to the quality of ignorance or forgetfulness of the real nature of the living being. A living entity is as pure as the limitless sky. He becomes covered by the cloud of forgetfulness. However, in his tendency for enjoying the material world, because of this quality called tamas, ignorance, he considers himself different from the absolute whole and forgets his purity, which is like that of the clear sky. This forgetfulness gives rise to separatism in false ego. Thus, the forgetful living entities, individually and collectively, make sounds like thundering clouds. I am this, it is ours, it is mine. This mode of false separatism is called the quality of rajas, and it gives rise to a creative force. for separate lordship over the mode of tamas. The flash of lightning is the only beam of hope that can lead one to the path of knowledge, and therefore it is compared to the mode of sattva or goodness. The limitless sky or the all pervading absolute truth, Brahman, is non different from the covered portion of the sky, but simultaneously the whole sky is different from the fractional portion that is liable to be covered by the dark clouds. The cloud accompanied by thunder and lightning cannot possibly cover the limitless sky. Therefore, the absolute truth, which is compared to the whole sky, is simultaneously one with the manifested living being and different from him. The living being is only a sample of the absolute truth and is prone to be covered by the circumstantial cloud of ignorance. There are two parties of philosophers, generally known as monists and dualists. The monist believes in the oneness of the absolute truth and the living entity. But the dualist believes in the separate identities of the living being and the absolute truth. Above these two classes of philosophers is the philosophy of Achintya, Bheda, Abheda Tattva, or the truth of simultaneous oneness and difference. This philosophy was propounded by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the Vedanta Sutras. The Vedanta is the medium of philosophical interpretations, and thus the Vedanta cannot be the absolute property of one particular class of philosopher. A sincere seeker of the absolute truth is called Vedantist. Veda means knowledge. Any department of knowledge is called a part of the Vedic knowledge. And the Vedanta means the ultimate conclusion of all the branches of knowledge. As philosophy is called the science of all sciences, Vedanta is the ultimate philosophy of all philosophical speculations. The clear sky of one's consciousness is covered over by the cloud of ignorance, forgetfulness. And that setting, what germinates and grows is false identification, which is compared to the false ego. And that is a symptom of rajas. And because of this, there is thundering. The one is simply thundering. So, rajas, thundering. And the entire scenario can only be made auspicious if there is lightning, which is compared to as knowledge, a feature of sattva. Sattva बोलो. The living entity's consciousness is pure like a clear sky, as Srila Prabhupada explains here. It's pure like a clear sky. It is this forgetfulness of Krishna which adds this impurity of ignorance, which in turn kindles the false ego. So, therefore, struggle and striving in yoga is the most beneficial struggle because we can understand the original state of the living entity is is pure consciousness, and this pure consciousness is like a clear sky. What is being explained here is that the sky is expansive, whereas cloud is a very small fractional portion. So the cloud can only cover an insignificant portion of the clear sky. Not much the cloud can cover. The clear sky is oceanic, and that clear sky is being compared to the pure consciousness of the living entity. That means every living entity in its original state has oceanic pure consciousness, just like a clear sky. So there is struggle in the material world and there is struggle in the spiritual world. The struggle in the material world is there because uh, one is running after illusion. To catch illusion is a big struggle, actually. Is it not? To catch illusion is a big struggle. Why? Because uh, that is a characteristic definition of illusion. Illusion means it's not reality. And because it is not reality, that means you will not be able to catch it. And the attempt to catch it is a great struggle. But it's a great struggle in vain and pain because it is illusion. Because that is illusion. If it is reality, we can grab it. But if it is illusion, how can one grab it? How can one grab something which is illusion? How can one grab a shadow? How can one grab a reflection? So, in the example of the perverted tree, mango tree reflection in the lake, a crystal clear water lake, one can see the mango, but how can one grab it? It is just not possible to grab it because it is illusion. That is why all the endeavors in this material world are simply illusory. So that great struggle is futile. That is why an obsession of material affairs is futile. Prakriti sthani karshati. Ahankar vimodatma kartamamiti manyate. Great struggle. The living entity, great struggle. Lot of pain, no gain. Polluted stain, person becomes insane. Great struggle. Prakriti sthani karshati. So much pain. Person moaning in pain, groaning and moaning in pain. Why? Because it is a chase after illusion. So that is why तस्यैव हेतु प्रयते तकोविदो न लभ्यते यत् प्रमति उपर्यद तल्लभ्यते दुःखवादन्याथ सुखम कालेन सर्वत्र गभीररम्भसा. Therefore, struggle should be there for a meaningful end, not after this material affairs. Struggle should be there. So Narad Muni explains in fifth canto, I believe this is text 17, first canto, fifth chapter, 17. I believe it's 17 or 18. Tasyeva hetu prayate tapo. So one should endeavor not for something which is available in Patala, Rasatala, Talatala, Mahatala, Talavitala, Sutala, no? Or it is available in higher planet systems. The Swarga, Maharloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, Brahmaloka. One should endeavor for something which is not available in all the 14 planetary systems. That is the goal which we should aspire for. The goal to get out of the darkness of this cloud of tamas, forgetfulness of Krishna. That's a meaningful struggle. Why? Because that struggle will give us something for eternity. That struggle is not giving us titillation. That struggle is giving us something for eternity. But what is the feasibility of this struggle? Before we do any undertaking, there is always a feasibility analysis. Okay, what is the feasibility of this struggle? That we are understanding from this analogy. The pure consciousness of the living entity is like a clear sky which is expansive, unlimited. In that, these fractions, this fractions of cloud in the form of material desires are coming, and all it can cover is a very small portion of the sky. Which means when we raise our consciousness, it can expand to an extent which is as powerful or as unlimited as the sky. What the clouds of material desires can do, what these clouds of material desires can do. Which means that in this path of yoga, as one goes up, urdhvam gachanti sattvastaha, as one goes up, the consciousness is expanding. And as one's consciousness is expanding, it can actually overpower the, the dark effect, the clouding effect, or the covering effect of this cloud of tamas. When there is zero balance and the overpowering of the cloud of the expanse of pure consciousness starts, now it just supersedes the covering area. That equilibrium point, at that point, is the stage of nishtha, basically. So by the process of Krishna consciousness, The purity, the pure consciousness is expanding, and it is giving a challenge to this cloud which is covering. As it is expanding, it can come to the same extent as this cloud which is covering. And the moment it comes to the same extent, the platform of Nishtha starts. And then this cloud of pure consciousness can go much more beyond, and goes beyond and beyond and beyond, and these clouds cannot do anything. That means that this struggle for Krishna is the most profitable struggle, because one for sure is getting out of the illusion. The most profitable struggle, because for sure one is getting out of this illusion. So forgetfulness is the disease, it's the cloud which is covering. One very important meaning of forgetfulness is deprioritization. What does so remembering Krishna in effect means giving the utmost priority to Krishna, Krishna consciousness. But when one starts giving priorities to other factors, deprioritizing Krishna, that is called as forgetfulness. So, so that is called as forgetfulness. Because a sadhaka may think, oh, I am every day chanting 2 hours. Where am I forgetting Krishna? So forgetfulness means deprioritization. Synonymous. That is why material desires are clouding. Because material desire is coming and we are giving top priority to it. So pure consciousness is getting clouded. Pure consciousness which could have given a top priority to Krishna. So Krishna is getting clouded progressively. As more and more material desires are coming, Krishna is getting clouded. That means deprioritize. Krishna consciousness goes into the background, we have heard. So what has come into the foreground? Cloud. Cloud has come to the foreground. So when this false identification happens, then that becomes a breeding ground for false ego. Now false ego tries to prove oneself because false ego has got a ground. As they say, Andho mein kana, in an assembly of blind, one-eyed person is the king. Andho mein kana raja. So similarly, when the Krishna is as soon as there is Krishna consciousness, as long as there is Krishna consciousness, the son of Krishna is there. Then there is no comparison of the individual to the Supreme Lord. But when that gets clouded, then one gets a germinating ground. Just like it is said, no stagnant water develops, uh, gets putrefied, starts staining, staining. So it develops all kinds of toxic transformations, uh, polluted transformations. Why? Because it's stagnant. Running water, very pure, because it's stagnant. Similarly, stagnant consciousness gets putrefied. But consciousness is flowing towards Krishna. Krishna is the ocean. You know? That consciousness which is flowing towards the ocean never get putrefied. Never get putrefied. So false ego breeds only because of the disease state of consciousness. And that is compared to thundering. So person having false ego is blowing his own trumpet. Oh, I'm big man, I'm this is mine, I'll take this, Shampoo always quoted, today I have this much, tomorrow I'll make my empire 10 times. Anybody comes in between, I'll smash them off. Nobody can stop. False ego. So false ego is coming up with different. That's false ego, not thundering. That's false ego, thundering. Different ways of asserting one's individuality, greatness, vibhuti, opulence, like that. Different ways. So you see, modern day, yeah. Uh, so false ego. This is called as false ego. Like see the modern day social media platforms. They give a perfect facility for everyone to assert their greatness. False ego. No? So, so that's the idea. That is false ego. That is clouded consciousness. So, what is in our remembrance is the most important factor. You're remembering Krishna consciousness pure. You're remembering itara other things. Consciousness impure. And then Srila Prabhupada is explaining here that how the transcendental knowledge is like the lightning which can help. So because of the effect of the cloud is everything is dark, there is confusion, bewilderment. Prabhupada explains. In this material world, every every man is bewildered at every step. There is bewilderment at every step. So that's but then if there is transcendental knowledge, that acts like lightning. So if the lightning comes, it pierces through this cloud. And even uh, one short event of lightning also illuminates the atmosphere around. You see, when lightning comes, everything gets illuminated. One is able to see, oh, what's around. One is able to see. That's what the effect. Therefore, the knowledge, just like a dark room, even a small hole which is there in the dark room, pinhole, small hole, can actually dissipate the darkness of that room to a very substantial and profuse extent. And that is what this transcendental knowledge can do in the lives of people. And that is why Prabhupada says that this Bhagavatam is a revolutionary creation. Why it is a revolutionary creation? Every word in it is revolutionary. These words are also Bhagavatam's words only. The analogy is Bhagavatam's analogy, the description of autumn. So every word is revolutionary because it can create a revolution in the impious lives of the misdirected civilization. Create a revolution in the impious lives of the misdirected civilization. Prabhupada explains this in the preface to Srimad Bhagavatam. Ah, so transcendental knowledge is a revolutionary concept. And therefore, what we need to do is bombard the entire world with the transcendental knowledge that is bound to create awakening, that is bound to create because that is like lightning, it can pierce through all the covering clouds. And as a living entity gets an experience that there is something beyond this darkness, So the living entity, himself or herself, will also start endeavoring for it. So this transcendental knowledge can trigger the spiritual action in people's lives. They can activate them spiritually. So they start seeking. So they start seeking. Now Srila Prabhupada explains further, this pure state of consciousness is not Krishna. It's separate from Krishna, but connected to Krishna. So why monism is shallow understanding? Because pure consciousness is not Krishna. It's a very shallow understanding. And because it is so shallow, so shallow, so shallow, that it does not purify the disease of false ego because it's so shallow. In dualistic philosophy, the disease of false ego at least is purified. Because one understands, I am Nitya Kinkaram, I am an eternal servant of Krishna. And this understanding in its most intense form is the next higher level understanding is Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva. So Jiva is separate from Krishna, but connected to Krishna. Mishare, why that connection point is most important? Why that connection is being given emphasis? Because my identity is separate from Krishna. I say, no, 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 but connected to Krishna. That connection is most important in the most important characteristic of the identity of the Jiva soul. Why? Because when it is connected to Krishna, then only it gets that all oceanic empowerment. And that is the reason why the pure consciousness can be as expansive as the sky. It is not possible by the power of the Jiva himself or herself or itself. It is only possible because of Krishna's mercy. And therefore, the most important ingredient characteristic of the Jiva is the connection to Krishna. Just like for a machinery, connection to electrical supply is most important. That is only not there, it won't move. Finished. No functionality. No functionality. So similarly, for the Jiva, the connection to Krishna is very important. That's why Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave Achintya Bheda Abheda. There is Bheda, that no doubt Jiva is Nitya Kinkara. But that is not complete understanding. Nitya Kinkara is there, separate from Krishna is there, but eternally connected to Krishna and eternally dependent on Krishna. And in eternal servitude to Krishna, the Jiva can realize oceanic empowerment. And that is why the Chetana, the consciousness of the pure soul, can be as expansive as the sky. So much so that no further the once awakened, once activated, that no further any clouds can cover it.
No, pure consciousness is monism. Pure consciousness is monism.
Your consciousness is Krishna consciousness.
Like monism.
Monism means I and Krishna are one. So that idea is very shallow idea. I am divine, no doubt, but I am not Krishna. I can be in my full divine existence, but still I will not be Krishna. So this is a very shallow understanding. That means one has just sort of started getting some faint idea what is spirituality. But if one concludes there only and passes all resolutions, then that's a big mistake because this is so shallow that it does not even cure false ego. Because I am God. It doesn't even cure false ego, disease consciousness. You know, if we make a full stop there. Yes. Yeah. And the Moni say that is my Leela. So uh so that is so they're very dangerous. Monism. So dualism is safe. But dualism in its most intense form, then the living entity is not wanting to think of one's existence in any way separate from Krishna. That connection to Krishna is the all Sanjeevani, the life giving, the empowering factor, which can sustain the pure consciousness, which is as expansive as the sky. So let us stop here for today. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय.